You awakened the most useless ability in history, a 1 cubic meter void storage. The whole school laughs at you, but they have no idea what the law of space is truly capable of. What if you place half the space over someone's head, and let the other half hang in open air, then snap it shut in an instant? That becomes an absolute cut, one that ignores every defense. And what if you split that 1 cubic meter into 10 separate 10 cubic centimeter spaces? Next, Ash. The cold mechanical voice echoes through the awakening hall of Jiangcheng First Academy. Thousands of eyes land on you at once. You wear a faded school uniform washed so many times the color is nearly gone. You walk up from the corner step by step and press your hand onto the awakening stone. This is a world overrun by beasts, ruled by rigid hierarchy. The ability you awaken almost entirely decides how far you can climb. It decides whether you and your family can ever escape the fate of living like livestock at the bottom. So in this moment, everyone is watching. But when the awakening stone lights up, the glow is pathetically faint. A pale gray haze barely coats the surface, like a dying candle flickering in the wind. The crowd falls silent, then erupts in laughter. That's an awakening? Gray light? What kind of trash tier ability is that? I've never even heard of it. Bet it doesn't even hit rank 1. Instructor Wang stares at the words frozen on the display and shakes his head in disappointment. He announces flatly, Ash, awakened ability, rank 1 void storage. Additional note, storage volume, 1 cubic meter. The hall explodes. 1 cubic meter? That's just a pocket-sized box. Even the supply crew would laugh at how little that holds. A slum rat through and through, even his ability reeks of poverty. The jeers slam into you from every direction. But you quietly pull your hand back and stare at those cold words on the screen. No anger on your face, no resentment, just silence. You know it well. When you have no power, emotions are worthless. And then, at exactly this moment, a blinding golden light explodes from backstage and pulls every eye in the room. Young Master Zane, definitely S-rank. The Crimson Lotus Flame. The Zhao bloodline never disappoints. The crowd erupts in awe. Zane, the direct heir of the Zhao family, walks onto the stage wreathed in pale golden flames. He is dressed in luxury, his expression carrying an arrogance he doesn't even bother to hide. Unlike you, he was born standing at the finish line most people will never reach, and now he has awakened one of the most powerful offensive abilities in existence. From this day forward, resources, status, and opportunity will all flow toward him automatically, but he doesn't stop to enjoy the cheers. He walks straight toward you, looks down, and a cruel smirk curls at his mouth. Ash, so it's you, the little rat hiding in the drain. He raises a finger, flame still burning around it, and points at your chest from a distance, each word slow and deliberate. Rank 1 void storage, 1 cubic meter. How fitting, when that poor little sister of yours is gone, you can use it to store her leftovers. The moment he mentions Ava, the stillness in your eyes finally shifts. A thread of cold killing intent flickers through. Zane catches it immediately. His grin stretches wider. What, you got a problem with that? Someone like you, even breathing the same air in Jiangcheng is a waste. He turns to Instructor Wang. Not a request, a command. There's still a scholarship slot to War Academy for low-income students, right? I believe it was meant for him. Instructor Wang's face goes pale. Yes, based on grades and overall evaluation, the slot was originally assigned to Ash. Zane's tone stays flat, but carries the weight of someone who decides who lives and who doesn't. I don't want to see this nobody taking up space in the same school as me. Instructor Wang tries to push back. That's against the rules. Zane lets out a cold laugh. Rules? The flames surge. In Jiangcheng, what the Zhao family says is the rules. The hall goes dead silent. No one speaks up for you. Everyone just watches. Some with pity, some with satisfaction, some waiting eagerly to see you break. But you don't break. You simply lift your eyes and look at Zane. The look is terrifyingly calm, like you're looking at someone who has no future left. That look is exactly what Zane hates most. The grin fades from his face slowly. His voice turns dark. Good. I don't like that look. Get out. Instructor Wang sighs and slides a form toward you. Just sign it. It's a withdrawal form. With an ability like that, staying here serves no purpose. Accept it. Go find work at a factory on the east side. You take the form, glance at it, pick up the pen, and sign your name without a moment of hesitation. You hand it back and turn to leave. Not a single word of protest. Because in your rules for survival, you never waste breath arguing with the already dead. You barely make it through the school gates when the sky turns completely dark. Lightning tears through the clouds and rain slams down without warning, soaking you through in seconds. But you don't seem to feel the cold. You just keep walking, numb. Then the cracked second-hand phone in your pocket buzzes. You answer. The voice on the other end is cold and clinical. This is Jiangcheng City First Hospital. Your sister Ava's Abyss Frost Syndrome has taken a sudden turn for the worse. She has been moved to the ICU. Within 24 hours, you must pay $100,000 for the treatment medication. If payment is not received, we are required by policy to discontinue treatment and remove her from the ICU. $100,000. The number hits you like a sledgehammer. To the wealthy, it's just a number. To you, it's completely out of reach. You speak fast. Please, just a few more days. I will find a way. I promise you don't finish. The line goes dead. Nothing left but the flat dial tone. You stand in the downpour. Your fingers curl slowly into a fist. The rain-soaked withdrawal form crumples in your grip. The last trace of restraint drains from your face. What remains is pure resolve and madness. Your education is gone. Your future is gone. Every legal path is closed. This world and its rules were never going to leave a way out for you and Ava. Then you'll just have to take it. You spin around and head toward the slums at the edge of the city, the place light and order forgot. The deeper you go, the darker it gets. Finally, you turn into the deepest, filthiest alley. Not a single streetlight. And in this moment your eyes change completely. Then you'll stake your life on it. But the words barely leave your mouth when a thick, nauseating stench of blood and beast rushes from the darkness ahead. Then two crimson lanterns flicker to life in the dark. Not lanterns. Eyes. A tier -2 beast that has no business being inside the city walls, a shadow wolf. This creature is known for its speed and its claws. The nightmare of rookie fighters. For an ordinary person, forget winning. Surviving 3 seconds against it face to face would be a miracle. But the thought of running barely surfaces before you kill it yourself. Turning your back on a wolf only gets you killed faster. So instead, you step forward half a pace, drop your center of gravity, and snatch a rusted steel rod from the ground in one lightning motion, holding it across your chest. This is the instinct you bought with pain in the underground fighting rings of the slums. Against a stronger enemy, the more afraid you are of losing, the faster you lose. Only by looking more vicious, more reckless can you carve out any chance at all. You and the wolf face each other in the muddy dark alley. Then the shadow wolf moves. It lunges like a black blur straight for your throat. You can barely track it. You rely purely on instinct forged through countless life or death fights. And at the last possible moment, you twist hard to the right. You save your throat. But the claws tear across your left shoulder and arm, ripping a chunk of flesh clean off. Blood sprays out immediately. The pain blacks out your vision for a second. But you don't retreat. If anything, the pain ignites something savage deep in your bones. You let out a roar and use the momentum from your twist to drive the steel rod straight at its eye. The strike is fast, vicious, but you underestimate what a tier -2 beast truly is. The shadow wolf wrenches its head aside midair. The rod misses the eye, glances off the skull, and buries less than half an inch before it jams. The shadow wolf howls in pain and fury and whips its head sideways. The rod tears from your grip and you're flung face first into the ground. What follows is a true savage brawl. You and the wolf roll together through sewage and mud. It tears into you again and again with its claws. You fight back like a beast that has completely lost its mind. Fists, elbows, knees, even teeth, targeting every spot that could be fatal. 3 deep gashes open across your back, deep enough to see bone. The shoulder wound keeps bleeding. Strength and awareness drain fast. Your movements slow. Your breathing falls apart. Then the shadow wolf seizes its opening and slams you into the wall. Your skull cracks against the surface and your vision explodes with stars. The next second, its full weight crashes down on you. Its claws pin your shoulders and nail you to the corner. You can't move. It lowers its head. The shadow wolf's jaws are less than 2 inches from your throat. You can see every mark on its fangs. Despair spreads through you like ice. And then, Ava's face flashes in your mind. Pale, but always smiling. Ash, you're going to be the greatest ability user ever. Ash, when I get better, I want those candied fruits from the shop on the south side. You can't lose. If you lose, what happens to Ava? What happens to the 100,000? What happens when the hospital pulls the plug? Just as the shadow wolf opens its jaws to crush your skull, your battered, nearly dead mind drops into a stillness you've never felt before. Pain, fear, desperation, all of it stripped away. Your world narrows to 2 things, the wolf's head closing in, and the ability everyone laughed at, void storage. What is a space? It's a box, invisible, intangible but real, and if it's a box, it has edges. Edges that appear when it opens, and vanish when it closes. A thought, insane beyond all reason, splits through your mind. What if something is caught right inside that edge? Your gaze locks onto the point where the shadow wolf's head meets its neck. The next second, every ounce of focus, every shred of will, every last drop of life force, you pour it all into one single razor-clear thought. Lower half of the space, over the wolf's head. Upper half, in the open air above its neck. Spatial edge, locked precisely at the seam between head and neck. Void storage snaps shut. The weight crushing you suddenly lifts. Then a scalding, thick rush of liquid bursts over your face like a dam breaking. You slump against the wall, gasping like a broken bellows. You look down. Your pupils shrink. The shadow wolf's body still lies across your legs, but its head is gone. The cut at its neck is perfectly smooth, like the work of the sharpest laser imaginable. Fur, vessels, bone, nerves, all sliced clean. Not a single jagged edge. You close your eyes. You sink your awareness into your ability space. The next moment your whole body shudders. The severed wolf head floats in the center of your 1 cubic meter space, perfectly still. Its eyes still hold the fury and shock of its final moment. The cut is just as smooth as the other side. You finally understand. The true terror of your ability was never the storage. It was always the spatial edge itself. Whatever gets caught in that edge, flesh, bone, or steel, will be severed directly by the law of space. This isn't a normal attack. It doesn't care about physics, it doesn't care about defense, it doesn't care about the gap in strength. It is absolute spatial severance at the level of pure law. A tier -2 beast skull is hard enough to shrug off most weapons, and it's still split in 2. From now on, Crimson Lotus Flame, hardening abilities, iron body techniques, none of it means anything if it can't stop the law of space. The ability the world called useless finally bears its true fangs. You stare at the wolf head inside your space. The corner of your mouth slowly pulls back, and finally, you can't hold it back. The wild, desperate joy of tearing a path out of the abyss. A low, unhinged laugh escapes you. Heh, ha ha ha, it echoes through the alley. Part madness, part survival, and part the cold clarity of someone who has finally seen through the hand fate dealt them. But you force yourself calm fast, because right now, what matters isn't joy, it's money. You push through the tearing pain across your body and use your cheap folding knife, working from the rough knowledge you picked up helping dealers process beast materials in the black market, to cut open the shadow wolf's chest. Soon you dig out a fist-sized crystal near its heart, pulsing with a deep blue glow. a tier -2 beast crystal core, a shadow-type crystal core, and a remarkably clean one. On official channels, trading this requires a license, but on the underground black market, it's the hardest currency there is. Conservative estimate, this crystal core is worth at least 300,000. That means Ava's treatment costs are not just covered, there will be a significant amount left over. You store the crystal core in your void storage and quickly clean up the scene. You drag the wolf's remains to an inconspicuous spot near the alley entrance. Scatter some scraps of flesh around it, make it look like another beast fed on it, or like gang cleanup after a fight. Then you peel off the filth-covered school uniform and throw it into the sewage bin. That uniform represented the old you, obedient, rule-following, at everyone's mercy. That identity ends now. You dig through the trash and pull out an oversized black hooded coat. With your last few coins you buy the cheapest white plastic mask from a street stall. On it is a strange, frozen smile. Hood up, mask on. A completely new figure stares back from the reflection. From this day forward the student named Ash no longer exists. What remains is a hunter who moves through darkness and shadow. You give yourself a new name, Zero. It means nothing, and it means the start of everything. Half an hour later, you arrive at Jiangsheng's largest underground trading hub, the Black Gold Market. Its entrance is buried deep inside an abandoned underground parking lot. Two heavies stand at the door, their waistlines bulging. Weapons. Obviously. They take one look at you, smiley face mask, beat-up coat, and immediately size you up as easy prey. Stop. The scarred one looks you up and down, voice unfriendly. Where'd you crawl out from? Wearing a busted mask like some kind of ghost. You know how things work here? The bald one is more direct. He throws out an arm to block you. Want in? Pay the 100 entry fee first. You stop. You say nothing. Your eyes sweep calmly across both of them and settle on the weapon at the scarred man's hip, less than a meter away. Just right. The scarred man sees you staying silent and reaches for his weapon. But before he can draw it, your focus has already locked onto the middle of the barrel. Space. Open. Spatial edge over the barrel. Space. Close. Click. Half the barrel drops to the ground. The cut, smooth as a mirror. Both heavies freeze. The scarred man looks at the half weapon in his hand, then at the half barrel on the ground. A chill shoots straight up his spine. They didn't even see what you did. All they saw was a military-grade alloy barrel bitten clean off by something invisible. The unknown is far more terrifying than raw power. The bald one pulls his arm back immediately and forces out a smile. Please, go right in. You don't even glance at them. You walk straight into this lawless world built on nothing but profit. The inside of the Black Gold Market is far larger and far more chaotic than the outside suggests. The air is thick with motor oil, cheap alcohol, and something rotten. Neon lights cut every face in half, one side bright, one side shadow. Mercenaries, black market doctors selling banned drugs, brokers trading intel and bounty lists in dark corners. You waste no time. You head straight for the most impressive three-story building at the center of the market, the Black Gold Guild. Behind the counter, a heavy-set broker is hunched over, polishing a gemstone. Without looking up, he asks, "Selling what?" You don't answer. You just extend your hand above the counter. With a single thought, the fist-sized crystal core, glowing with deep blue light, drops heavily onto the surface. The broker freezes. He slowly looks up. The greed in his eyes is almost impossible to hide, but he's a veteran of the black market. The shock on his face lasts half a second before it turns to contempt. He picks up the crystal core, pretends to examine it, tosses it back. Average quality. Unstable energy. Barely tier 2. 100,000. That's not lowballing. That's outright robbery. But you show no anger, no haggling. Just a quiet, cold laugh. You reach out, pull the crystal core back into your void storage, and turn to leave. The broker panics immediately. Someone who doesn't know the market would beg and argue. Someone who walks away knows more than he does. Wait. Price is negotiable. You keep walking. 200,000. Still walking. 250,000. That's my ceiling. Only then do you stop. You turn halfway. The smiley face mask looks especially unsettling under the lights. 300,000. The broker's face twitches. He grits his teeth and agrees. Soon a solid black metal card with no markings is slid across the counter. You pick it up and walk. The moment you step out of the guild doors, the smile vanishes from the broker's face. He makes a gesture toward a heavy-set man drinking in the corner. The man grins and slips out after you with 4 tattooed enforcers, silent as shadows. You spotted all 5 tails from the start. More importantly, on the way you test a new application of your ability. You pick up a piece of broken stone and store it in your void storage mid-stride, then release it forward on the very next step. The stone launches out like a bullet, carrying all the momentum from your movement. In that instant you realize, void storage doesn't just cut, it can store and release kinetic energy. A more efficient counterkill plan takes shape immediately. You deliberately lead the 5 of them through the maze of back alleys in the Black Gold Market. Finally you walk into an abandoned 3-level underground parking structure. Dark, isolated, no people, no cameras. Perfect for what needs to be done. Sure enough, the moment you stop, all 5 close in from different directions. Every exit is cut off. The one in front swings an alloy blade, his face full of amusement. Nice little run, he says. Leave the card. Hand over everything you've got. We're in a good mood today. Maybe we'll go easy on you. You turn slowly. The white smiley face mask looks genuinely disturbing under the dim yellow lights. No anger. You ask in a voice so calm it carries no warmth at all. Are your heads worth anything? The man stares for a second. Then his face twists with rage. He grips the blade with both hands and brings it down hard at your skull. The blade screams through the air. Against any normal person, this strike would split them from head to chest. But you don't step back. You step forward. Into the blade. The moment it descends, the spatial edge sweeps across it first. The sharpest half of the blade simply vanishes. The man's arms lurch forward with nothing to stop them. He stumbles. And you've already slipped inside his reach. Space, open, spatial edge over the neck, space close. A dull, wet sound. The fury on his face freezes solid. The next second, a red torrent erupts from the clean-cut neck. The headless body crashes to the ground still mid-lunge. The air dies. All four remaining enforcers freeze. The grins on their faces lock in place. Pure terror is all that's left. They didn't understand what you did. They just watched a man's head disappear. Finally, someone breaks. A shriek tears out of them. Ghost! It's a ghost! All four spin and run. But you can't let any of them leave alive. You push off the ground and glide after the nearest one like a shadow skimming the floor. And when it's done, you stand in the center. The black coat. Not a single drop on it. You crouch down and calmly search the bodies. A few minutes later you stand. Not bad. Several stacks of cash, roughly 30,000, and a well-crafted military alloy blade. You store both in your void storage and feel the anonymous black card pressed against your chest. 300,000, plus another 30. It's enough. Finally enough. Through the unsettling smiley face mask, your gaze cuts through the dark. You see Ava's pale face in that ICU, the eyes that have stayed cold and still finally carry a trace of warmth. Ava, I have the money to save you. You say it quietly and tuck the black card carefully back into the pocket closest to your heart. Then you don't linger. You turn and go. Less than 5 minutes after you leave, rushing footsteps pound through the structure. The broker from the Black Gold Guild arrives with over a dozen guards, armed with energy rifles radiating brutal force. They storm into the abandoned lot. Where is he? 5-on-1 and you let him walk? When I get my hands on him, I'll flatten him myself. But the moment he sees what's in front of him, every curse dies in his throat. The flesh on his face trembles. Those small, squinting eyes are now wide open, shot through with red. 5 bodies. 5 bodies with no heads. His best enforcer, the one with the C-rank skin-hardening ability, lies face down in a pool of red like a burst sack. The cut at his neck is smooth as a mirror. A bone-deep chill shoots from the base of the broker's spine straight to the top of his skull. His legs give out. He drops with a thud, right into the cold, thick liquid pooling on the floor. His lips quiver, his teeth chatter. These cuts, he points at the smooth-edged neck. His voice cracks with fear. No burning, no tearing. This is spatial severance. To use the law of space at this level of precision, this is at least peak B rank, a top-tier space-class figure, world level. The broker's mind goes blank. What kind of existence did he just cross? Since when did a god of slaughter arrive in Yangcheng? The night is deep. The rain has stopped. You store the black coat that marks you as 0, the smiley face mask, and the stained military blade into your void storage. Then you change back into the washed-out school uniform you rescued from the trash, sling on the faded backpack, and become once again the unremarkable, slightly thin student no one would look twice at. But clothes can be changed. Eyes cannot. The boy who used to carry quiet shame and suppress pain disappeared in last night's rain-soaked alley. The eyes you have now hold a cold razor edge that won't dissolve. You head straight for Jiangcheng City First Hospital. At the late-night payment window, the on-duty nurse is half asleep. Then you slam the anonymous black card against the glass and she jolts awake. The irritated look on her face doesn't even fully form. You look at her and say one thing. ICU, Ava, best available treatment. Right now. There's 330,000 on the card. If it's not enough, I'll find more. Your voice is rough, but there is no room for negotiation. The nurse stares, then looks down at the anonymous black card carrying that enormous sum, then looks back up at your cheap school uniform. Her eyes fill with disbelief. A kid dressed like he can barely afford lunch is casually handing over 300,000. The contrast leaves her speechless, but the balance on the card doesn't lie. So she changes her attitude immediately, gets up, contacts the doctor, and arranges the highest level of care. Half an hour later, the latest gene repair treatment slowly enters Ava's system. Only when you see the color slowly returning to Ava's paper-white face does the tension in you ease, just a little. The room is quiet. You sit beside her and smooth back her sweat-damp hair. And only in this moment does the brutality and killing intent in your eyes slowly drain away. What's left is something almost clumsy in its gentleness. Ava is the only warmth you have in this cold world, and the one thing you'll never let anyone touch. And she lies here frail and sick. Her lashes flutter. She slowly opens her eyes. She takes your hand and asks quietly, "Did you do something dangerous?" She caught the faint but unmistakable smell of iron on you, and she feels the chill coming off you. Nothing like before. Your chest tightens, but you force a gentle smile, ruffle her hair the way you always do, and lie softly. Nothing like that. I just sold the academy slot to some rich kid. Got enough money from it. First priority, getting you treated. The moment Ava hears it, the light in her eyes dims. She knows exactly what that slot meant to you. She knows how many years you bled for it. Her eyes go red. She whispers, "I've only ever held you back." But you just flick her nose lightly and smile the way you always do when you're comforting her. It's just a slot. Gone is gone. I'll still become the strongest with or without school. Stop overthinking. Just focus on getting better. When you're well, I'll take you to get those candied fruits from the south side. Once Ava falls back asleep, you tuck the blanket around her and watch her in silence for a long time. Only when you walk out of the room does the last of that warmth completely leave your face. What replaces it is a killing intent colder than the night outside. Zane took your slot, insulted Ava, and all the others who ground you into the dirt. The debt is just about due. The next morning, sunlight falls through the gates of Jiangcheng First Academy. But when it reaches you, it seems to stop, turned back by something cold and invisible. You walk in exactly as you have every day for 3 years. worn backpack on your back. But this time you don't go to class. You walk straight to the academic office and pick up a registration form for the National Ability Exam. Since Zane ripped away the scholarship slot, you'll take a harder path, more dangerous, but more direct. The National Ability Exam is brutal. The people who enter are either ruthless fighters with no connections and no resources, staking their lives on the outcome, or people who've been pushed to the edge with nowhere left to go. You are clearly the latter, but you've barely stepped out of the office with the form when a voice cuts through the hallway. Well, isn't that the great Ash, Jiang Cheng First Academy's former genius? You look up. Zane is walking toward you with a crew of followers. His arm is around a heavily made-up girl, satisfaction written all over him. He looks exactly like someone who climbed up on someone else's bones and came back just to laugh at them. He stops in front of you and looks you over slowly, deliberately. Then, you didn't show up yesterday. Were you home crying? You don't bother, you turn to walk around him, but Zane grabs your shoulder and his eyes drop to the form in your hand. He snatches it, reads it, freezes for a moment, then bursts out laughing like it's the funniest thing he's ever heard. National Ability Exam registration form? Everyone come look at this. A guy with rank 1 void storage actually thinks he can enter the National Ability Exam. What, tired of living? Planning to go feed yourself to the beasts out there? His voice carries. A crowd forms fast. Some whisper that you must have snapped. Others shake their heads. Entering the National Ability Exam with your ability is no different from choosing to die. And some are simply here for the show, waiting to see if you'll bow your head and accept it again, the way you always have. In their eyes, your past silence and restraint was always just weakness, so they all assume this time will be exactly the same. But that's precisely the moment. Zane drops the form onto the floor and raises his foot. He grinds it under his limited edition tactical boots worth tens of thousands. He twists his heel back and forth, looking down at you, his voice poison. Dead weight belongs where dead weight belongs. This paper is your fantasy. Crushing it is as easy as crushing an ant. In the past, you might have lowered your head, quietly picked it up, and swallowed every bit of the humiliation. But you are not who you used to be. You slowly raise your head. No rage, no tears, just a terrifying stillness. The next second, no warning at all, a heavy, thunderous impact explodes through the hallway. Your body drops slightly, and your right leg becomes a blur. A powerful front kick drives straight into Zane's gut. Too fast, too hard. The sneer doesn't even have time to leave his face. His whole body reacts like it's been hit head-on by a charging beast. He folds in half. A mouthful of bile sprays out. His feet leave the ground and he flies back over 3 meters. He crashes into the hallway display board. The entire tempered glass panel shatters. Shards spray everywhere. The whole hallway goes silent. No one expected you to move, and certainly no one expected a single kick to do that to Zane. He slides down from the shattered glass like a rag doll. He curls on the floor, face drained of all color. The pain is so intense he can't even form a proper scream. And you just slowly pull your foot back, standing exactly where you were, as if you didn't just send a person flying, as if you only brushed away some dust. But it's far from over. From the crowd behind Zane, a quiet, crew-cut, middle-aged man steps forward. His temples bulge. His presence explodes outward. The floor tiles crack under his feet from the force alone. D-rank strength-type ability user. Zane's personal bodyguard. A genuine veteran of the military. You've got nerve, he says. With a roar, he launches himself forward like a cannonball. His massive fist screams through the air, aims straight at your face. The students around you panic all at once, screaming, crying, chaos. Everyone knows a strength-type ability user at this rank can shatter bone with a single hit. But you don't retreat. You step forward, right into the punch, just as it's about to graze your nose, not a hard charge. You slip into his space like water, smooth and strange, locking yourself inside 1 meter. The bodyguard blinks, then smirks. Because in his experience, close range is exactly where a strength-type ability user dominates. He shifts from fist to palm and slams both arms inward, trying to crush you, bones and organs and all. But he has no idea what 1 meter means to you. It's not close range, it's execution range. An invisible spatial ripple passes. You make no extra movement, just a single quiet thought. Space, open, spatial edge, over both arm joints. Space, close. A sickening crack, and every student and teacher in that hallway witnesses something they will never forget. The bodyguard's arms, 1 inch from touching you, sever cleanly at the elbows. Both severed forearms, still held in the crushing position, simply detach from his body. They drop to the floor with 2 dull thuds. The cuts, smooth as mirrors. Then, as if delayed by half a second, blood erupts from both clean-edged stumps. It paints the white hallway wall in broad, heavy strokes. The bodyguard looks at his empty arms, then at the twitching stumps on the floor. Every trace of aggression vanishes from his face. Then the pain hits his brain and he lets out a sound that doesn't seem human, and crashes to his knees. He writhes on the floor like an animal being slaughtered. The hallway is so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Everyone is in shock, because no one saw what you did, not even a trace of ability energy to detect. A D-rank strength-type ability user just lost both arms, and you calmly step over the screaming bodyguard and walk toward Zane. By now Zane is completely terrified. His face is white as paper. He scrambles backward on hands and feet. A wet stain spreads across his pants. He's lost control of his bladder from sheer fear. You walk up to him. Hundreds of eyes watch, terrified, awed, stunned. You slowly raise your foot and press your faded, cheap sneaker down hard onto Zane's swollen, twisted face. You grind his head into the cold floor covered in broken glass. Humiliation. The kind he has never once experienced. You look down at the fear-warped face beneath your shoe. When you speak, your voice is quiet, but it cuts through the hallway like a wind from the coldest place on earth, reaching every single person present. I don't want your scholarship slot. At the exam, I will personally destroy everything you're proud of, in front of everyone. You lift your foot slowly. You don't even glance at him again. You turn, bend down, pick up the registration form, covered in boot prints. You dust it off gently and sling your old backpack over your shoulder. You walk away as the crowd parts on its own. Sunlight streams through the hallway windows and stretches your shadow long behind you. Alone, silent, but carrying a weight that makes it almost impossible to look at you directly. Meanwhile, in the principal's office, the principal stares at the security footage replay. His hands are shaking. The image freezes on the moment you severed the bodyguard's arms. No visible power surge, no dramatic energy wave. The spatial ripple is so faint it's almost undetectable. And that is precisely what makes it terrifying. Because it means your ability doesn't fight through force. It operates directly at the level of law. The more the principal watches, the more shaken he becomes. The teacup slips from his hand and shatters on the floor. This is not rank 1 void storage. This is the law of space made physical. In this moment, he finally understands. Jiang Cheng has produced something genuinely monstrous. He hits the emergency button immediately and orders your 3-minute footage classified at S rank, the highest level. All original data sealed. No one is permitted access. And beyond that, he pulls up your complete records from the past 3 years, clearly intending to completely re-examine the student everyone wrote off as a nobody. But just as the school begins to see your worth, the Zhao family has already made their move, for real this time. In the Zhao family villa, under glittering crystal chandeliers, the air hangs heavy as a freezer. Zane lies on the sofa with his swollen face, screaming for revenge. Zeus stands at the floor-to-ceiling window, listening without a word. Then he dials an encrypted channel. The person on the other end goes by Hyena, a squad of outlaws who handle dirty work in the wild zones. Zeus opens with 10 million to buy your life. But when Hyena hears you took off a D-rank bodyguard's arms at first contact, he raises the price immediately. He demands another 5 million for equipment upgrades, and states clearly, they only stage accidents. The beast will clean up what's left. The military won't find anything suspicious. Zeus agrees without hesitation. In his mind, no matter what kind of freak you are, once you're inside the wild zone, you're just a body waiting to be torn apart. 3 days later, half a month left until the national ability exam, the Jiangcheng Military and Education Bureau organize a final large-scale combat trial. Location, Wild Zone 7, just outside the city. This trial drives every senior student into a frenzy, not only because it directly affects their exam evaluation, but because the military has put up an extraordinary reward, especially for first place, a tier -3 energy core of incalculable value, something every ability user alive would kill to have. Military transport vehicles fill the yard. Students cluster in groups of 3 and 5, excited, tense, buzzing with anticipation, and you stand alone in the corner with your worn tactical pack fitting in with no one. After what happened in the hallway, no one dares come within 3 meters of you. You are like a block of ice, like a black hole. People instinctively respect you and instinctively stay away. Then a striking figure pushes through the crowd and stops in front of you. Nova, the top student at Jiangcheng First Academy, widely recognized as the #1 talent, awakened S-rank ice ability. She is always at the center of crowds and praise. She wears a white form-fitting combat suit, ice blue hair vivid in the sunlight, the image of a blade that is both beautiful and deadly. She looks at you. Her tone is part warning, part the casual condescension of someone who has always looked down at others. The Wild Zone isn't school. An E-ranker like you should stick with the main group. Don't throw your life away trying to prove something. From her perspective, this may count as kindness, but to you, kindness built on the assumption that she's above you and you should listen is just noise. So you glance up at her. 2 words. Cold and flat. Save it. Nova freezes. She clearly didn't expect those 2 words after lowering herself to give a warning. Anger surges. She turns away with a cold face and throws back, ungrateful. I'll be watching when you crash and burn in there. You just look back down, like nothing happened. To you, irrelevant people and irrelevant words are just noise. Soon the transports pass through the massive alloy gates and roll into Wild Zone 7. This place is a different world entirely. Mutated trees reaching into the clouds, thick vines twisted over everything, damp, rotten air, and unseen watchers lurking in every shadow. Every single detail tells you the same thing. This is not a training ground. People die here. The instructor gives the order. Thousands of students pour into the jungle. Most of them are smart. They form groups immediately, 10, 20, 30 together, carefully hunting tier -1 beasts in the outer zones. After all, for a typical senior student, a tier -1 beast like a small wolf or ironhide boar is already dangerous enough. But you don't join anyone. The moment you enter the jungle, you separate from the crowd and walk alone into the deep forest, heading straight for the red-marked tier 2 beast activity zones on the map. Others group up because they fear danger. You want efficiency. The deep forest is dark. A normal person takes every step braced for something to lunge from behind the trees, but your focus has already spread like an invisible radar. Within 100 meters, nothing moves without you knowing. And so the hunt begins. 30 meters ahead and to the left, a tier -2 lone serpent coils in the branches, flicking its tongue, waiting for prey to walk beneath it. You don't even slow down. As you pass beneath it, the space opens and closes, and its head is simply gone. A tier -2 claw cat tears at a carcass nearby, blindingly fast, lethal striker. But the moment it bursts from the undergrowth, before it even lands, its skull vanishes mid-air. The headless body tumbles forward on momentum alone. Then a tier -2 stone pangolin, famous for its defense, its shell hard enough to deflect ordinary blades and axes, but it barely surfaces from the ground before the space cuts through armor and flesh alike, splitting it into two clean halves. Each time you finish a beast, you extract the crystal core and drop it into your void storage. Practiced, efficient, no wasted motion. The military score bracelet ticks upward fast. 100, 220, 370, 550, 880, past the top 100 and still climbing. Then, just as you pull the crystal core from a freshly killed venomous snake, a chill detonates along your spine. Pure threat recognition, no thinking. Your body moves before your mind does. You throw yourself forward and roll into the nearby brush. At almost the exact same moment, a large caliber sniper round screams past the spot where you just stood. It slams into the massive tree behind you. The trunk explodes. Splinters fly everywhere. That shot is not combat trial level. That is professional assassination. You drop to one knee in the shadow of the undergrowth, eyes like ice. Large caliber armor-piercing round. Precision kill from over a kilometer. Pre-planned ambush route. There is only one answer. The Zhao family. They want you dead. Then none of them are leaving either. A kilometer away on the ridge, the sniper frowns. He expected this to be easy, but your evasion was too clean. Not like any student. More like a creature that has survived in the wilds for years. Then Hyena's squad tightens the net. 5 operatives splitting into left flank, right flank, and frontal push, moving to trap you fast. But they think they're hunting you. They don't know the real hunter never stands in the center of the net waiting to die. Your focus has already mapped all 5. Positions, distances, movement paths. So instead of running, you hug the shadows of the ground and vegetation and ghost your way toward the thinnest side of their net. The first to fall is Operative 3. He moves with his tactical rifle, carefully sweeping his forward arc. He never considers the danger above him. As he passes beneath a massive ancient tree, you drop from the canopy's shadow like a bat hanging upside down. He barely tilts his head up before you're inside 1 meter. Space opens, covers helmet and skull, closes. The sound is barely audible. The operative doesn't get a single word of warning out before everything above his neck is gone. You catch the body and lean it gently against the tree. Not even the sound of a fall. Soon, Operative 4 is ordered to check. He spots the strangely positioned body immediately. He freezes completely. When he tries to report in, his voice trembles. But in that moment of distraction, you slide in from the side shadow, a flash, and take his head. In under 1 minute, Hyena's squad is down 2, both killed without a sound. Even the battle-hardened Hyena is shaken now. He finally understands. This isn't a simple job. This is a demon that Harvest lives in silence. He roars for everyone to converge on him and fully unleashes his ability. C-rank wind ability, Windblade Storm. In an instant, countless high-speed rotating cyan wind blades shred outward in every direction. Ancient trees, vines, undergrowth, all shredded like paper. Every place to hide is torn into open wasteland. And finally you're visible in his sightline. Hyena's face splits into a savage grin. He thinks he's finally cornered you. At the same moment, a kilometer out, the sniper who has been locked on this area aims his crosshairs between your eyes and fires without hesitation. Bang. A kill shot. But you don't move. The instant the armor-piercing round is 1 centimeter from your skin, right in front of your forehead, a void storage space, barely visible, quietly opens. And so the bullet, capable of punching through tank armor, along with every ounce of its destructive force, is swallowed whole by the space in an instant. No explosion. No deflection. Not even a ripple worth mentioning. The storm fades, the dust settles. In the middle of the cleared ground you stand there, perfectly still, completely unharmed. The sight wipes Hyena's mind blank for a full second. Then you slowly turn your head. Your gaze crosses a full kilometer and lands precisely on the ridge where the sniper hides. Your lips part. 3 words, sending it back. The next second the void before you tears open. The bullet, the exact same bullet, launches back out at the exact same speed it arrived. The sniper on the ridge doesn't get the chance to react. All he sees is a black dot rapidly filling his scope. Then, bang, his precision rifle and scope explode in his hands. His own bullet drills through his right eye and takes off the top of his skull. One short scream on the comm channel. Then total silence. In this moment, Hyena finally understands. He didn't take a contract on some talented student. He took a contract on a monster. So his first instinct isn't to fight, it's to run. He blasts his wind ability to full power. Wind gathers beneath his feet. He turns to flee, throwing up his strongest defense in front of him, the wind wall. But wind is an element. Space is the law that holds elements. Against the true law of space, that wind wall capable of deflecting artillery is no thicker than paper. You walk straight through it, no resistance, no delay, like stepping through a curtain of water, 1 meter. Then you raise your hand, over the head, close. A soft, wet sound. His head leaves his body. His eyes still hold the final expression. Pure disbelief and terror. The headless body stands frozen for 2 seconds. Then, along with the erupting red torrent, it crashes heavily to the ground. Hyena's squad of 5, all gone. From the first shot to the last head, under 3 minutes. You don't rush to loot. You check the scene first, because you know. People who run this kind of professional dirty operation keep the most valuable thing not in their guns, not in their packs, but in their comms. Sure enough, you find a faintly glowing military communicator tucked into Hyena's tactical vest. The moment you pick it up, Zeus's voice comes through, urgent and dark. Hyena, is it done? Did you use the beast lure I had you prepare? Throw it on him and every tier -2 beast within 10 miles will converge on his location. Nothing left of him. The military will call it an accident. You go still. But what rises in your eyes is no longer just killing intent, because now you understand. The Zhao family was never just trying to remove you. Their real plan is to use the beast lure to turn the entire outer combat trial zone into a slaughterhouse. and use the deaths of hundreds of students to pave Zane's path to first place. In other words, they plan to buy Zane's victory with everyone else's lives. You crush the communicator in your hand and flip open Hyena's pack. Several dark red incense stubs, nearly burned through, only a small length left, appear in your hand. The thick, sickly sweet smell confirms everything Zeus said. High concentration beast lure, and more than one.